Ladies and gentlemen, it is the start of Retro Cup. So we went in with the team today, tried to be kind of neutral, kind of ABB, just be in my comfort zone. So I decided to go with a team that I saw pretty high on the ladder. Um, the team is Arctibax in the lead, which I had to make one. I did not have one. I actually had one that hit 1500, which is nice. The IVs aren't actually very good, but it hits 1500, so it looks good, and that kind of means a lot sometimes. So yeah, it's going to be a dragon type in the front, and then my back line is going to be double waters. It's going to be Toxapex and Feraligatr, specifically the Shadow Feraligatr. Although the user I did see using this was at 3300, and they were using regular Feraligatr. I do not. It was weird. I don't actually have a regular Feraligatr, which is awkward. Obviously I could make one, but I just had made the Arctibax, so I was like, I don't want to spend another billion dust on the regular Feraligatr, even especially because I do think that the Shadow is just a lot better in general. Obviously we're missing out on a bit of bulk because we're 20% weaker on defense with the Shadow one, but yeah, so Feraligatr, and then yeah, so Toxapex is there to basically find the other Feraligatrs and kind of dominate that matchup. I will say I didn't get it onto very many Feraligatrs. I did face a couple Feraligatrs, but every time it was a switch onto my Feraligatr, which is kind of weird because if you switch into a Feraligatr, you will lose that matchup, so it's kind of awkward. And then one Feraligatr actually had Crunch, which I thought was interesting because Ice Beam is so good against something like... my image is not captured there very well. What was I going to say? Jumpluff, which I did actually see a lot of. So let's go ahead and get into the games. That is not how that works. There we go. All right, lead here is Shadow Gallade, which I actually saw. I think I saw 2 or 3 of these, so a little bit more than I thought I would see. They obviously way outpace us. It takes 12 turns to get to Dragonclaw. They actually just straight close combat, which is weird, and they switch into Goodra. I actually think Goodra is pretty good. I will try Goodra at some point, but I also want to try Dragonite. So a lot of dragons I do want to try out in this cup. I actually saw one, Altaria. That was the name, Altaria. I don't know how much got paused there or how much is going in that blooper section, but they come back in with Gallade. I can't survive 2 Leaf Blades, but Leaf Blade is the only move they can throw at me. It'll cost them all their energy, though. I'll probably end up coming in with Feraligatr, try to get that one Shadow Claw advantage, just in case they do have a Feraligatr in the back themselves. They do actually have it in the back, so they actually outpace me here, which is awkward. I guess they went CMP, actually, right? Okay. We could actually switch here, or I could try to catch a Hydro Cannon onto Arctibax, which would resist it. And I do go for that play. Although I think we're pretty low here. We'll get very low. Technically, I don't think it would KO. Then they undercharge way too much. But I guess they have to go for some farm down. But I mean, they knew I had energy from the beginning matchup, so a little awkward there. All right, Golisopod. Someone in the comments section did mention that Golisopod probably would be used a decent amount in this cup. It's scary to use, though, because there is actually so much rollout, whether that's from Dunsparce, Licky Licky. I saw one Miltank, I think is actually the name of it. So it is scary to have Toxapex. I decided to catch here just to leave myself with a little bit of Arctibax in the back, but they end up having Clodsire. And this is actually a pretty big problem for Toxapex in general. Probably don't want to be swapping into this, but it's fine. We're still going to do super effective damage with the Brines. They're going to do super effective damage with Earthquake. Obviously, one is much better move than the other. It's the Earthquake, just to let you know. What else to say in this matchup? Technically, I think 4 Brines KOs. So if they do decide to go for some weird undercharge or, yeah, I don't know, a Stone Edge. or a Stone Edge on the first one and then a Stone Edge on the second one. I guess a double bait would be pretty bad for them. They do end up trying to catch here on the Golisopod. We are going to be able to see what their last mon is. It ends up being Primeape, which is tough, but we're going to get a shield here, and then I can get both the other shields in the back. You do have to worry about the pacing here, because since Primeape does have Karate Chop, it is actually going to be doing, it is going to be getting those moves a lot faster than something like Counter with the Annihilate, right? So a bit of a mistake here by me, but in the end, not really. I do have to worry about a switch in, though. And I'm very close to the next move. I believe I'm 2 away, maybe even 3 away, so I will outpace. But the question is, do I want to save any energy? Or rather, do I want to gain extra energy? And I don't really need that going into this matchup here, since I'm going to basically CMP onto the Stone Edge, knowing the energy counts from earlier. So that'll be GG. Alright, Jumpluff. They actually end up switching, a bit odd, but Dunsparce is a little awkward for this team as well. I end up going for the Avalanche here because I do have same type attack bonus, Stab, and then I'll switch into Toxapex because Toxapex, it'll take 3 drill runs to KO. Toxapex just very bulky, able to survive a lot of this damage. Again, Dunsparce is tough for this team. Something like Oranguru can be a little awkward for this team as well. Sometimes I just end up switching into Toxapex onto Oranguru after trying to do a little bit of damage in the front with Dragon Claw, if that's what I'm being given as a possibility. I'll come in with Feraligatr, get to farm this down. Since it is a normal type, it'll double resist these, so I end up getting... Nah, I don't actually end up getting 2, but we are going to way outpace to these Ice Beams, so I end up going for CMP here, just to see if I can get a shield. I obviously are going to win CMP all the time here against the Jumpluff, and that'll be GG with the Dugong in the back. We'll be able to switch the debuff off and do neutral damage with the Hydro Cannons, but it'll add up. Alright, Diggersby here. A bit of an awkward lead. We do have super effective damage with Avalanche. They do get the attack drop, which sucks for us. But this is still super effective at the end of the day. If we didn't get the attack drop, I would have just KO'd there. So we're in a bit catching you here in the middle of the video. Definitely subscribe if you haven't. Just take a second, hit it. All right, back to the video. Bit of an awkward position. I could go for the shield farm down, which I think... Oh, I end up just... Oh, that's right. I end up going in with the Feraligatr here. I'm going to shield this and go for the full farm down. Since they're a normal type, they actually do double resist the Shadow Claw, but that's perfectly fine with me. I'm going to end up getting massive farm here. I should have gone for the Hydro Cannon 100% of the time here. This was pretty dumb. They obviously have shields. I'm doing super effective Shadow Claw damage. If they shield this, I'm in a position where I probably need to shield and throw another Hydro Cannon into this. So that's why I should have just gone Hydro Cannon off the bat. It's very frail to have this Drifblim here. Yeah. Tough for me. But it does seem like Toxapex would be good in the back. This is already 2 things Toxapex was good against. So yeah, it ends up being Talonflame. The only thing I have to worry about here is some sort of Brave Bird catch scenario or something like that. Brave Bird into a switch. But we do know that the the Diggersby is actually very low. So I can actually farm it down. And they're not in a position where they could ever catch here. A Brave Bird would KO, but I think Feraligatr could end up fast attacking down everything at this point. They do switch in. We fast attack down, even though they do double resist the poison jabs here. Again, the moveset's on the left side. I should have said that as well. Oh, the camera's inverted. Left side's that way. All right, we get a, what was this? I missed it. Avalanche onto, sorry, the Clodsire. And then I end up coming with a Feraligatr here, but I'm going to go for a shield farm down here as well. Not going to be as good as the farm down in the previous matchup, but still a lot of energy here. Feraligatr is just massive with energy, so... Definitely can handle it. They end up coming in with the Jumpluff. I just go straight for the Ice Beam because I know I can get to 2 basically. And they do end up shielding. Makes sense. But I'm not going to go for any sort of baits here. Going for the second one. I could actually switch into Toxapex here. Oh, switch is not up. I do end up switching into Arctibax, which ends up catching, which is nice. Both of my mon are good against jump left. They are out of shields. I'll probably end up coming in with Feraligatr again, just because I know I can shield. Or I could just come in Toxapex, I guess. They end up having a Feraligatr in the back, and then I'll be GG. Probably I'll just let my Feraligatr go, unless they don't know the count. They win CMP. Great for me, actually. This is actually best case scenario. I'll farm this down. The whole reason Toxapex on the team is to just wall this thing. I think it actually ends up having Crunch, which can debuff my defense. Does it? They don't get the debuff. And then I decide not to shield this first one because Energy Ball can debuff the defense as well. And I believe he actually does debuff me, but it doesn't matter. We outpace to the Sludge Wave, and this is going to KO. And that'll be GG. But yeah, basically I wanted to make sure if my defense was going to be lowered, I shield the harder hitting move in the back end there. All right, Oranguru. I guess this is where I want to see it. The tough part is it only takes 3 confusions to get to a Brutal Swing, which is tough, but you know it's not going to be Trailblaze at the very least. So I actually end up going, I think, for... I thought I actually went for the Avalanche there, so I end up going for the Dragon Claw. They end up shielding. I'll probably end up giving a shield so I can go for another Dragon Claw here. Oh, I actually end up going for the Avalanche. Makes a lot of sense. I think they're actually just going to shield again. I'll end up coming in with the Toxapex, which will leave me with basically Feraligatr against the world, but I have a shield on Feraligatr, which is very good. And I don't want to shield anything here. I'll basically take all the damage, which is going to be a couple moves here on Toxapex. On Toxapex. And I think I even stay in this matchup as well. Wait for them to throw energy before switching. It's going to get them pretty low. I mean, I'm no in danger here. Maybe I just let them throw again. Yeah, they go for CMP. I'm going to let this go. I'm going to farm this down with Feraligatr. And we're going to be in a great position in the end game here with a lot of energy. They don't have another move available to them. They do have a switch, so we do have to remember that. They do end up coming with Arctibax. The switch is definitely not up, so we just go for this right away. It's going to do about 75%, which will get them to the red. And I'll shield, farm down everything, basically. If they ever switch to Oranguru, I'll throw a move at Oranguru because they're going to be closer to a move there. Actually ends up looking like CMP here, which you do win against Oranguru. And then we'll go for the farm down against the Arctibax. But... we actually end up getting farmed down just a little bit of HP more. The Shadow maybe killed me there. Oh, I'm not too sure, though, because... Well, yeah, maybe if we have normal, we live... Well, but they wouldn't have been in farm down range. I don't know. Would have been close either way. Kecleon, a weird one. I do know it has Ice Beam, but the odds of them going for Ice Beam there are pretty low. End up CMPing here. CMP... All right. Oh, they have an Arctibax of their own. Okay, probably going to end up coming in with Toxapex just to eat a lot of this damage. Maybe I can get a Sludge Wave off later. Yeah, I'm just going to eat all this damage and hope that 2-shield Feraligatr can do something, basically. No use in trying to, like, bait this. I do want to get rid of this if I can, and if they use a shield, that's great for me. And if they use a shield, I'll just stay in here as well. I'll go for a Brine. They're going for, like, massive... Okay, they actually mistime that. If they do shield this, I'll switch right away because I don't care. I don't want them to farm me all the way down. They'll get even more energy, whereas I can get the farm down here. We're going for 2 shields. And then it'll be their last mon with Feraligatr up energy in a no-shield situation. So most of the time that's going to be in favor of me there. Ends up being a Flygon here in the back. We go for the Ice Beam, double super effective, even though I did get the attack drop from the Icy Wind. Icy Wind, 100% chance to lower the attack. But also interesting that they are using Icy Wind. I do think Avalanche is the way to go, but in their scenario, technically was the best. Tyrant, actually pretty interesting lead here. I think I could technically farm this all the way down, so they do end up switching into Deoxys. I save all that energy. I come into Feraligatr here. I go for CMP on this move. Technically, the Deoxys is going to live, but I'll I'll just let it go. Come in with Typhlosion. Come in with Toxapex, farm this down. They won't get to a Psycho Boost. They won't get to a Psycho Boost before I farm them down. We know what the Tyrant's out. We can see what their last mon is. Ends up being Glade, which is interesting. I should have actually thrown the Brine right away. We would have beaten them to their move. There would have been no need for a CMP, but it will take them 3 Leaf Blades to KO us. And I know I have a banked move, almost 2 moves on Arctibax. So I am able to get this off. They do have a lot of energy. They are out of move now on... Interesting. So we end up taking out the Tyrant here. Great for us. They don't get that farm down before we get the move off. They are out of energy. They're out of shields. And now we're in an awkward spot. But I believe we're going to be able to live 1, right? And then we have a shield for a second, so they'd have to get to 3 moves. We can CMP right here. Technically, they are at 2 Leaf Blades. But we CMP, and that's going to be GG. And they end up going for close combat. So I guess they just knew our account and wanted to show off. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, GG. All right, Arctibax lead. So it's kind of all about CMP, but they end up coming in with a Rangaroo. I'm going to hit them with the Dragon Claw and then switch to Toxapex. Toxapex, even though you're taking the super effective from these confusions, and they're going to go for pumping themselves up, I just think this is the right way to go about it. It's tough, really tough for Feraligatr to handle this. And I don't want them to use all that extra energy onto Arctibax if I can. They end up shielding, which to me is a little weird because they end up not getting a farm down here. I'm going to get both of their shields. I'm going to come back in with Arctibax. Oh, I'm coming in with Feraligatr for a massive farm down, so probably end up going for the double shield farm down. They do resist these claws. I am going to get a lot of energy out of this, and they are not going to make it to another move. We are going to take a lot of confusion damage in the meantime, but actually ends up not being that much. I already have a full move loaded. They do end up coming in with a Golisopod. I think this game... I can't remember if I won this game because they end up catching on Arctibax. I think I end up 1 move short here. I get the farm down... Oh, I remember this game. I said it's going to come down to CMP here, basically. Do I win CMP against Golisopod? And I figured I would. But just just leaving this in there for y'all. Golisopod wins CMP against Feraligatr. Didn't know that. So another Golisopod I saw. I think those are the only 2 Golisopods I saw in these 3 sets. Actually, I did 3.5 sets because I still had 3 games to play on 1 set for these games. So all right, well, I missed a lot of what's going on here. Vergyverg, I did say this mon was going to be very good in this cup. We end up getting to 2 moves, so I am going to get both of these shields, and then I'll come in with Toxapex and not worry too much about this. I'll probably actually switch right into Feraligatr after this just to get a little bit of an energy lead. Anytime you can get an energy lead on Feraligatr, you want to go for that. And ends up being a Rangaroo in the back, so I'm already thinking it's going to be triple confusion, maybe with Hypno. I'm not sure what the other confusion user could be. It could also be just triple normal with Dunsparce, so that's something to also watch out for. Rangaroo. They end up having Arctibax in the back. I have a lot of energy. Interesting to go Trailblaze and then dip. That's actually really weird. I get this full farm down, which is going to give me a lot of energy into... I think it's in Brine range. I just have to hope that I can reach Brine. If I reach it in 5, I should be fine. And I do. I actually end up throwing on bad timing here. I could have technically gone 1 more. And probably should have just in case, because Brine's a terrible move. Alright, Primeape, really horrific lead. But they end up switching into Feraligatr, and I said this at the beginning of the video. You don't want to be switching Feraligatr into Feraligatr. It does make me think that they are weak to this in the back. Which could be a bunch of things. First thing I'm thinking of is Clodsire. I'm going to get the full farm down here. And this is why you just do not switch in like this. They end up coming back in with... I literally almost said Toad, which is weird. The Primeape. And they mismanaged the energy here. They obviously did have a Rage Fist, but I'm going to end up getting both shields here. Great for me. Now, they are going to get infinite more energy here because I don't want this to be on the Arctibax, but an Arctibax up a shield in the back looks like it could be good. And I don't care too much about these Rage Fists because at the end of the day, we do resist these Karate Chops, even though now he's going to be 2 times buffed, and he can actually get to 3 buffs here, and I still just don't care at all about these. But we're getting pretty low at this point. Close combat actually does a shit ton. Brine going to be super effective, so I want to throw this before I come in with Arctibax, because I do have Avalanche, but I'm going to shield the first move as well. I don't want to have any amount of time. I want to have the least amount of time as possible against the Primeape, and I want to be close to another Dragon Claw. So I know it's going to take 6. I can go for CMP. Looks like I went 1 turn before, which is fine as well. Don't want to throw Dragon Claw because just in case. And I could have gotten a farm down there, but, you know, the whole reason I did this was to get a move off against the Primeape, so might as well do it. Alright, Dragonair. They actually end up switching into Dunsparce. Again, Dunsparce is kind of a problem for this team. But I'm going to get some damage off before I try to catch, to be honest, a Rock Slide into this. But they're going to get to their drill runs, but they do need 3 drill runs to KO me. So I will still get to this Brine before they get to another move. But Brine not going to KO from here. So an interesting choice here, whether or not to do damage. And come in basically Feraligatr after they throw another move to KO me here. And I will get a decent amount of Dragon Claws into this. So that's pretty nice. It looks like I'll probably get 3. Oh, they actually end up coming back in, or coming in with Gallade, but this is a Leaf Blade, which is awkward because we do resist this. So I get a lot more energy with, and then Dragon Claw before they get to their next Leaf Blade, because the second Leaf Blade will KO us. Obviously it does a ton of damage, and it's not the Shadow Gallade, which is interesting as well. I end up going for the shield here to try to, and I think I'm going to switch and try to farm this down with super effective Shadow Claw. But they get to move before I get there. Now, the Dunsparce is in farm down range. You have to be very worried about a catch. And they did show the Dragonair was in the lead. So I go for a Hydro Cannon here when I get to the Ice Beam to get a shield. And then I'll probably just go straight Hydro Cannon again. I do have a move loaded on the Arctibax. So now I'm in a weird position where... Oh, they let it... Oh... Okay, they couldn't farm me down. That's just going to be GG. Arctibax can farm all of this down. Both of these Mon just going to go for the full farm down here. Alright, Dugong. An interesting lead, I will say, because you get to the Dragon Claw before they get to their first Icy Wind, which is what they'll be using against you. It is neutral, and it does lower your attack. Now... They get to 1 more as well, so when I switch right now to Feraligatr, they can get to a drill run first, and it'll be up to you whether you want to shield this or not. I think I end up not shielding this. I played these matches like less than an hour ago, and they end up coming with Arctibax. I go for the Ice Beam. I'm running out of health here on Feraligatr. I really hope this hits, because if it doesn't hit, it's going to be awkward. I end up not making it to the Hydro Cannon. And now it's a question of, do I want to farm this down? Or the question is, do I think I can get it down with Dragon Breath before they throw the move? And I was pretty sure I couldn't. So I ended up coming with Toxapex to farm down. I am Icy Wind. That is something to note. They end up coming with a Noctowl, which is fine. I'm neutral against this. And I have Avalanche. A bit of lag there. I think they actually end up sneaking a move through, which sucks for me. But I am able to get to the second Dragon Claw, and now I have so much... I just have so much bulk on Toxapex, and 2 shields as well. So I'm going to go for all the shields on the Noctowl, I think. Well, but Sky Attack was nerfed, right? What was in the lead? Oh, yeah, the Dugong. Oh, obviously I would save the shields for the Dugong. I end up going for the Sledge Wave here. I kind of forgot they had a shield, to be honest. This was a stupid move. because I threw it at bad timing because I thought they didn't have a shield, so I was going for maximum efficiency versus actual efficiency, which is different if you can KO them on. So I end up in an awkward position here, but they end up just letting it go. Arctibax into Oranguru. Again, Oranguru is kind of hard for us to handle, so I'm going to go for a team-up approach here. Since they switch in, you can throw Dragon Claw right away, since it'll be exactly one turn ahead of their third Confusion. But not if they're at the same time. Do not throw right on Dragon Claw, because then they'll get an extra Confusion in through if they don't throw right away. So that's just, it gets to Brutal Swing at the exact same time that you get to Dragon Claw, and if they don't throw and you throw, they get that extra full Confusion. That's 4 turns. That's game losing, basically. They end up getting the shield through there. I'm going to come back in with the Arctibax. Just going to be able to farm this down. If they do come back in with their own, we got a little bit of a lead there. I'm going to go through the Dragon Claw here. If they shield this, I'm switching to Feraligatr. Probably switching to Feraligatr no matter what. But especially if they shield, they end up switching into Vergyverg. And now it's a question of, do I want to go for extra energy or not? And I do go for energy, because I still need to do damage to that Arctibax. I'm not going to take the damage from this Confusion because it's 2 turns after my Shadow Claw. That's something to note, I guess. I should have gone for Ice Beam here, and I regretted it as soon as I threw it, but I still have a decent amount of HP. And as long as I get it lower than my Arctibax, they cannot get to 2 charge moves, so I can end up farming it down. All right. So that's my first team in this cup. Yeah, Arctibax is pretty cool. I'm going to be trying... I just don't know how much time I'll have, but I want to try Goodra. I really want to try Shadow Dragonite. I might do that one next. But, yeah, these games were pretty good for us, obviously. Things you really have to worry about is Oranguru. And maybe even more than that. Oranguru, you can kind of just deal with it with your whole team. It's a question of whether or not the Trailblazes are going to ramp it up to where your team's just suffocated by fast attack damage. But Dunsparce is actually pretty hard for this team, especially in the lead. You really have nothing to switch into. A thing to note is that Toxapex's HP bulkiness is just so high that you can live 2 drill runs and it takes 3 to KO. That's something to really think about or keep in your mind. Other than that, everything else seemed pretty good. I will say I did lose to a triple Confusion team. That team felt impossible to beat. Yeah, because Vergyverg and Oranguru do resist the Shadow Claws, and that can be really tough to get through. So anyways, if you like this team, hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. What's it called? Hey, thank you for watching the video, and if you want to continue to support me, definitely click that subscribe button. You'll see any content coming out, and if you want another video on this same league for some more tips and tricks to other teams, check that video out right there, and I'll see you in the next one.